Explain the difference between Sefer Kolaman and Mimala Kolaman. And explained it regarding to the four worlds. Mimala Kolaman means a place where the world are everything is equal, because this light is a light which is infinite. And therefore it relates to all the worlds equally. So now we're up to page 23 at the bottom. After you finish explaining Mimala Kolaman, which means how the light is different than Atzilus and Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya. And even in these four worlds itself, there's a huge difference between Atzilus and the other three. And then in each world, there's a difference between every single detail in the world. This is all Malakalam. Avol, all the way at the bottom, page 23. Avol, the other level of Hashem's light, which transcends all the world and all the limitations of the world, because this light is infinite, legal. This light is called Sefer Kolam, which means this light transcends the worlds and encompasses all the worlds as if it were from the outside. And that's what it means that we draw down a light in all the worlds. It's not a matter of location where the light goes, but it's describing the quality of the light, the kind of light, the essence of the light, that it's a light that's infinite and a light that shines to all the worlds equally. So I guess, what does it mean then if we say that we make it shine in this world? It means it's something which, as a result of my Avodah, it's more, we're able to feel it more, we're able to be more aware of it, it's more revealed in this world. And now he's going to explain how it's through our Avodah. I know this means, page 24. That this is a light that's drawn down in all the worlds in a way that it's equally to all the worlds. In order to draw down this world, this light to all the worlds, it's mainly through his kafi and his hapka. And before that, he says another word, Avedis Habirurim. What's Avedis Habirurim? Right. That in everything in the world there's a spark of holiness. And the fact that this person or this object or this situation looks like it opposes Torah mitzvahs. And the reason is because on the outside it looks like it's klipa, but inside there's a godly spark. And when I use it the right way, it means I'm connecting to the spark of godliness in it and revealing it and bringing that out on the open. That's why it's called birurim. Good morning. Birurim means separation, to separate the good from the bad, to separate the light from the darkness. And that's Avedis Habirurim. So if a person, for example, has a desire to eat a food which is not kosher, so that desire, which comes from the food, is coming from klipa. Klipa is making me have a desire to do something against Hashem. By the fact that I overcome that desire, that I don't eat the food, which is a skafia, by doing that, it has an effect on elevating. Well, maybe I shouldn't give an example of not kosher, because we're gonna get stuck on a question. So let's talk about something which is kosher. But it's unnecessary. I'm only eating it for the like it says in Tanya, for the sake of just satisfying my nefesh bahamis. So if a person eats it, makes a bracha before, makes a bracha after, and thinks that I'm eating this food to be healthy, or I'm eating this food to feel good, makes me happy, puts me in a good frame of mind, that's also a positive thing. By doing that, I'm elevating the godly spark that's in it. And the word elevating means that this godly spark is godly to begin with. I'm not making that happen, but it's hidden and it's concealed. And by me using it in the right way, I'm reconnecting it openly to its source. So through the Aved of Birurim, and again, you can only elevate sparks in a place where the sparks are hidden. That's this physical world. This begins of Skati is Hafka. And there was concluding what he began at the beginning of the Maimon. Page 25. Zehu at the Skaf, you see Thrachim. And we're going to elevate the spark in the T right now. Anybody see the sparks flying?
I do.
There's a story with the Alter Rebbe that he was once asked a question by a butcher about meat, whether it's kosher or not. Something happened, and it was not clear whether the meat is kosher or not. So he asked the Alter Rebbe, this is before the Alter Rebbe became the Rebbe, I think, if he could answer him, what's the halacha? Looks like it was something complicated. The Alter Rebbe said, have a seat, and I'll do the research. So he sat down, I guess, in another room. In the meantime, the Alter Rebbe went to look it up. He did a long, hard day of work. So he fell asleep. After a few hours, he wakes up and he realizes he fell asleep. And the Alter Rebbe was supposed to give him an answer. So he takes a look in the room and he sees the Alter Rebbe standing there, piles of Sforim here, piles of Sforim there, and he's still looking. And he realized all this time the Alter Rebbe is spending on finding an answer to this question. So they said to Alter Rebbe, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for you to spend so much time in it. It's not a problem. I'll just take the meat and throw it out. He felt so uncomfortable. The Alter Rebbe spent hours on it. The Alter Rebbe said to him, if you would see the way this ox is begging me to make it kosher, you wouldn't talk like that.
Wow.
Now, it doesn't mean that he saw an ox in the room going, moo, 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 make me kosher. But I meant to say there was a godly spark there. And that godly spark is an entity and also wants to be elevated. So when a Rav paskins, this food is permissible, and now you can eat it, make a bracha before, make a bracha after, you can elevate it. If the Rav would say it's not kosher, which means you can't elevate it, it's going to be rejected. That's what he said, yeah. And that's why we're also so particular in Torah. One of the things in Torah is something called we don't waste. Baltashka, very thank you. We don't waste something in vain. People have a nature, there's a cup on the table, wash it, and you just tear it up. And the truth is, anything that has any purpose, it could be used. You're not allowed to just waste it. Again, the Friedrich Rebbe told the story that he was going for a walk with his father, with the Rebbe Rashab, when he was a little boy. He was in the country, and they're walking and they're passing by bushes, trees with leaves. So he says, the nature of children is Torah off a leaf, and in his fingers he was rubbing it. That's what kids do. And his father said to him, that Rizal said that in all these leaves and on the tree there are neshamas, and you just tear it off and destroy it. So in other words, if there's a cup that could be used, or a plate that could be used, and I just throw it away, I'm not realizing that, yes, it's a plate, but there's a godly spark in it. And if I use it for the right way, the godly spark gets elevated.
Once you elevate it, then who cares? Once you drink from it, it's ready to go to the garbage. Why can't you brush it up and play with it?
You mean that's going to be in my use? That it's helping me calm my nerves.
No, if you already drank from it, you already got the use out of it. But
no, that's no. If it's disposable, you're right. I'm saying if it's not being used.
Oh, it's not.
If it's a perfectly good cup,
okay.
just because my hands are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you were sitting in the car. I'm looking, where is this phantom? This is Jeffrey. Actually, there's a interesting thing in this Sedra. And in this Sedra, this was a story with Yaakov. He went to sleep, put down 12 stones, and he put his head down on the 12 stones. And then it turned into one stone, right? You know the story from the Parsha? What does Rashi say? That the stones were fighting. Every stone said, I want the tzaddik's head to be on me. And this stone said, I want the tzaddik's head to be on me. So the Eibishter made a nest that all the little stones became one. And once it became one stone, so wherever his head is, it's on me. It's all one. But the interesting thing is, what do you mean they were saying, I want the tzaddik's head? Who is speaking? So remember, we already said, when it says in the Torah, the trees were speaking, the mountain Sinai was speaking, the ocean was saying something. It means the angel that's in charge of it. Here too, there's a godly spark here. There's an angel in charge of the stone. The angel wants the stone to be elevated. So the angel says, I want the tzaddik's head to be on me. And that's Avodas Habirur. Page 24. Fine. When a person does subdue the Sitra Achra, which means this is copy Sitra Achra, when a person does, his avodah is able to discipline the klipa in him, and transforms the darkness into light. Then there's a light that comes out of darkness, dafka. There's a pasuk, which is, and this is one of the cornerstones of Chassidus, this pasuk, Yisrael ha'er v'teicha cheshach, that light is greater than darkness. And in fact, the whole pasuk is saying that just like light is greater than darkness, that's how wisdom is greater than foolishness. And the question is, do you need someone like Shlomo Melech, who is the wisest of all men, to tell us this revolutionary thought that light is greater than darkness, and foolishness and wisdom is greater than foolishness? So the answer is, it doesn't mean just light is greater than darkness. Yisr na'er, meichesh means the greater light comes out of darkness, which means if you have light, that's natural light, and then you have light that comes out of a dark situation, that light shines stronger, and that light is more intense than a light that's naturally light. Now the Rebbe says in Tanya that in terms of foods, also this is last week's parsha, where Yitzchak said, "Asei li matamim," make delicacies for me, good food, delicious food. So someone who reads the Chumash, I guess maybe without Chassidus, so what are they thinking? Yitzchak Avinu loved food. And he said to Esav, you bring me good food, I'll give you brachas. So it says in Tanya, based on the Zohar, what are the delicacies? It's basically iskapia and ishapcha. These two things. That's why it says plural. Two kind of, and he gives a mushal that the Gashmi, there's certain foods that are naturally sweet, naturally taste pleasant. It's good. There's certain foods that have a sour taste, have a bitter taste, and then you put spices in them and you make it taste good. And some of these foods, when you put the spice on them, they actually taste better than those foods that are naturally sweet. That's the difference between iskapia, darkness that comes after light, and darkness and light that comes without darkness. Light that comes without darkness is sweet, but light that comes out of darkness is sweeter, is much greater, is much more intense. And that's only here in this physical world. When you take darkness and you transform it into light, this light is superior, is greater than that light which is natural light. And this light, as a result of it, shines openly, and it shines down here to this physical world. This light, which normally is in all the worlds equally, which means it's an infinite light, But nevertheless, through the Avodah V'Skapia, I'm causing that light to be revealed in our world. Page 26. Zeu Kadiskapia Sitra Achra, Stalagi Korda Kuchabrichu, B'chulu Almer. Pchinas Hasev Kol Almer. It's the light which is called Seviv, Shaiv, and I'm Shachasi with Pchinas Seviv, Umaki, B'chol Ha'ilam is B'shovet. The way this light shines is that it shines to all the worlds equally. And why is that? We explained because it's an infinite light. But through Eskapia, it shines down here in this world. That light shines down here in the same manner as it shines up there in the higher world, because there is no difference. But when we say that it shines, it means we become more aware with it. We're able to feel it more. And the siddhis, when we say that it's more begili, it doesn't mean I can see it with my physical eyes. But the fact that it's more revealed, which means that it'll have more of an impact on me. It'll affect me more. In other words, just like we say, for example, if a person, when we spoke about this in the beginning of the year, people travel to the Beis Hamikdash. And as a result of that, they became more inspired. It means that there's a godly presence there, but there's a godly presence in the whole world. But in the Beis Hamikdash, that godly presence is more pronounced. And therefore, I'm going to feel it more. And as a result of that, I will become inspired to daven, to learn, to give tzedakah, to be kind, or whatever it is it needs to be, that I need to be inspired with. So through his copy of his hapcha, I'm causing this light of Seviv to be revealed in this world. And to reveal means that it has an impact on the world, it has an impact on people in the world. Now we go back to the beginning, where he said, Hashem commanded us, you should make a migdash, a sanctuary. I will dwell in them, plural. I will dwell inside every single yid. By day, I've made this copy with Hapcha Chashechel and Hera, Nasai Deza Yisna Er. So this will bring a greater light. This stalik yikar the kuchablichu b'chol almin. Shemeir mizgala er hasevet. So the light of Hashem will be revealed in all the worlds. But which world, which light is the light which is called Sevet? This is the completion of the first chapter. The next page, this is written by the Rebbe himself, by the previous Rebbe. And many Maimarim would write a summary after each paragraph. And the interesting thing is, sometimes when you read the summary, it wasn't just a technical thing. The summary gave you more insight into what the main points of the whole paragraph was. So let's read the summary on page 28. Ikar Shechina v'tachteinin. First, to bring out the point that the essence of the Shekhinah was primarily in this lowest world. Yevayir explained the Kavanas Brius Elam Shir v'tachteinin, that the whole purpose is should be a dwelling place in this world, and the dwelling place should be through our Avodah. What's the Avodah? Is Kapia, is Hapcha. And what do we accomplish? Mamshech Eira Seviv, you draw down the light of Seviv, and it's a light, Shel B'chul Almin B'Shavet. It's in all the worlds equally, because it's a light which is infinite. I'm going to try, I don't want to confuse you, but I want to try to explain something more. So if it gets more confusing, we'll stop. You'll tell me. What's the muscle in the human body? We know that everything in the physical body is sort of it's a mirror of something going on in the spiritual realm. We have Chachma, there's a sphere called Chachma. We have Bina, there's a sphere called Bina. There's Mamala Kalam, and we also have that. There's Chachma, Bina, Das, and it also goes into each part of the body accordingly. The brain holds the wisdom, the heart is the emotion, the hand is the power of movement, the feet is the power to walk, the mouth is the power to speak. So the neshama sends and distributes different powers and different faculties and different energies to different parts of the body. What would be the example of Sev Kalam in the body? So the answer is
Blood?
what?
Blood?
Blood. Actually, that's also true. There is my mother to explain that too, because the blood is the same all over. But on the other hand, blood is the physical. What? Motion, all the organs have different kinds of motion. Rutzen, the willpower. Right. And there's a very interesting point to this. The willpower is more like Sefer Klam. What does that mean? There's no specific organ in the body that contains the willpower.
The heart.
No.
Oh.
I mean, I'm going to get to that. I want to talk about that. Yeah. The brain is a keli, is a vessel that can hold intellect. No other organ in the body is a vessel. The reason why the intellect is in the brain and not in the heart, because the brain is designed for a seichel. It's just like begashmius. You know, if a person wants to have a GPS and you want to know how to travel, you have to have a specially designed computer for that. If you need a computer for something else, it has to be designed differently. Whatever it is you need, the machine that makes things happen is designed according to what you need. So the organs in the body are designed in a way that each organ could facilitate a different faculty. Like we gave the example of a glove. The glove looks exactly like my hand. There's one part that fits the thumb, another part that fits the pinky, another part that fits this finger, that finger. But it's still a glove, it's a piece of material. It's not a hand, which is part of a live person. But the design of the glove, the design of the vessel, the design of the garment is according to the design of the hand. Yeah.
The willpower is like higher because it's part of, I understand. So it sounds like the cerebral is higher because willpower is like higher down.
It is, right, it is higher, yeah, it is higher.
Oh, so cerebral is
Right.
higher.
Cerebral is higher.
Oh, so yeah.
Oh, so good, now we understand. That's the point, it's higher, and that's why I kept saying that cerebral is infinite. That makes it higher.
It's a real higher.
How do you gauge higher and low when you're dealing with spiritual light? Of course, closer to Hashem, further from Hashem, but the more something is finite, the more limited it is, that makes it lower. If something is unlimited, and the more unlimited it is, that makes it higher. So the more abstract, that's higher. The more defined and the more it has a form, that makes it lower. What'd you say?
So are we saying that willpower is unlimited?
Yeah, I'm trying to explain that, why I'm saying that. I'm bringing out the point that all the faculties have a certain organ in the body where they fit, and they don't fit in another organ. So that's why I gave the example of the glove. The brain is a physical organ, and this brain facilitates the power of intellect. There's no other organ in the body that the power of intellect could function through that organ. It can't function through the ears and through the eyes or the nose or the mouth. On the other hand, the power of speech is also a spiritual power, but it's designed in a way that it can only fit and only function through the mouth. And the power of hearing can function through the ears, and the power of vision can function through the eyes, which means the physical eye, we can't understand it because we don't understand spirituality, but the physical eye is designed in a way that it corresponds and has in it something which is like a counterpart to everything that's in the power of vision, the spiritual power of vision. And the same with all the other powers. So it like you say in English, it fits like a glove, has to fit. But that's because these faculties have a form, they have a description, they have a design, and therefore their design corresponds to the physical design in some way or other. Lutzen, what?
You know, it's a little bit different, but like passion, like whether the desire to like create or move forward or earn is connected to like fertility. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, like, so I'm wondering, but I guess the willpower is like deeper in the soul.
Yeah, I'm going to get to what the willpower is. This willpower is in a sense a certain power of the soul that controls all the other powers.
Wow.
If I want to look, I'll look. If I want to speak, I'll speak. If I want to be quiet, I'll be quiet. If I want to move my legs, my hands, any part of my body, even the brain, it's the willpower that controls the brain. Like if you have a question on something and you think and you think and you think, I got an answer. Came to me. I mean, the brain itself contains the answer to all questions. So what was the reason that the answer to this question popped out of my brain now? Because I wanted to. So Ratzon is the one that gives command to all the organs in the body what they should do. And maybe you might remember, I mentioned earlier in the year a quote from Gemara, La'olam yilmed adam b'makom sheli b'chafetz. The person should study Torah in a place that they want to study Torah. What does a place mean? There's two interpretations. One means geographic location. One person wants to learn in this yeshiva, or in that yeshiva, or in another yeshiva. Choose the yeshiva that your heart has a desire to be there. Another interpretation of makom means not the physical space, it means subject. I want to learn halacha, I want to learn chassidus, I want to learn the laws of tefillin, or I want to learn laws of Shabbos. Learn that part of Torah that you have a desire to study. Why? Because if you're learning something that your ratzon, your willpower wants it, that will cause the intellectual potential to come out more, because the willpower controls everything. And that's why there's an expression in Torah, Ein lav davar omed lefnei haratzon. There's nothing in the world that stands in the way of the will. In English, they say, if there's a will, there's a way. But in the Torah language, it's Ein lav davar. There is nothing in the world. There's nothing omed that could stand and block the will. If you want, it's going to happen.
Also, where Eretz Yisrael comes from there also, right? The word-
Yeah, Eretz Yisrael, ratzon.
Also.
Ratzon.
Would you write that line on the board?
What?
Would you write that line on the board? It can be after class also,
The Hebrew or the English?
Hebrew.
Hebrew? Okay.
Rabbi Majeski, so the Solev Koranim is in the heart.
What?
So the Solev
Oh,
Koranim.
that's where I'm coming to now. Where is the ratzon? Where's the organ?
It's a soul, it's not an organ, it's a soul.
That's what I'm coming to. That the ratzon has no organ in the body.
Oh, very nice.
There's a famous story of the Baal Shem Tov, by the way. Baal Shem Tov always taught his students that everything that happens is hashgacha pratis. So one time he was teaching his students, the door opens up, and there's a peasant standing there, and he says, my wagon just broke. Can somebody come out and help me? And of course, the student was sitting there learning with the Baal Shem Tov, and they weren't going to interrupt. So he got angry, and he slammed the door, and he said something in Russian. Who can help me? Surely you know Russian, right? Something like that. Which means they said we can't, so he says you could, you don't want to. And someone showed me something beautiful in Chumash. There's a pasuk in Chumash where it says we can't do this, and the Targum that translates the Chumash into Aramaic says, and I don't want to do it. The Chumash said I can do it, but his translation, I don't want to. Of course, there are other situations where we're being blocked, but generally speaking, where there's a will, there's a way. Now the question is, which organ in the body is the organ that contains ratzon? So it says in Chassidus, there is no organ in the body.
Right.
It's everywhere, and it's everywhere equally. Yeah.
So the לעולם יעמוד אדם במקום שחפץ ליבו לפניו בבית. Then the ratzon is not in the heart. The heart is maybe the ratzon they're talking about is from the heart.
Oh no, very good point. I'm going to explain how the heart comes into the picture.
With the liver.
No, what Lee is asking, why does it say b'makom shalibi, where your heart wants? You say where you want. So this seems to imply that it's connected to the heart. So what I'm going to explain is the heart is not really the place or the organ for the ratzon, but yet it's connected to the ratzon. The ratzon registers in the heart.
Filter.
It registers in the heart and the brain, but it's not really the key for it. What's the proof for it? This is the way Chassidus explains it. The proof is like this. We see, let's say we would say the ratzon is in the brain, because that's where you feel, I want something. Where do you feel that you want it? In your head, in your heart. And what do I want to do? Let's say I want to learn a skill. I want to go somewhere, I want to do something. Normally, if the Ratzon is in one organ and now it has to impact another organ, it should take time for that to happen. And Chassidus gives this example. That let's say I want to learn how to write. I want to learn calligraphy. Or a yid who wants to learn how to write like a sofer, make the letters or the alphabets like in the Sefer Torah. It's a skill. So I'm telling my brain, is telling my hand, okay, move it up, down, in, out. Does it happen right away or it takes time? Why does it take time? I know exactly what I want. I have a picture in my head. I want the aloe to be like this, like this. Then my hand moves and it doesn't go that way.
You have to practice until you get it right.
Why?
You are, it's not.
I know that's the fact, but the question is why? If Ratzon controls everything and my Ratzon commands my hand to move in this direction, why doesn't it happen? What?
It's new.
Right. So the answer is it's new. When Chassidus explains it, new means like this. In order for the Ratzon to be mashpia on the hand, to act in a certain pattern, a certain way, the Ratzon has to sort of invest itself in my hand. That energy that's in the Ratzon goes to the hand and makes the hand work a certain way.
Some
The
people have
person-
things naturally.
What?
Some people have it naturally, they can just put out like before this like painting.
If it's natural, that it doesn't mean that I have to teach myself something new. But I'm saying if I'm teaching myself something new, like you said before, it's new. Whether I'm teaching myself how to dance to a rhythm of a certain song, I'm teaching myself how to use my hand to build something, use my hand for another skill, in sports, whatever it may be. If it's in my head and I want to teach a certain organ in my body to change and do that, it takes time. What takes time? So Chassidus explains, because the energy from the brain has to come to that organ of the body and be invested in it and make it follow that pattern. It's the change is what takes time. It's like Ishtalshuls. Has to go from the brain into my feet, into my legs, into my hands, into my eyes, whatever it is that I want to change. If the Ratzon goes there, it takes time until it's able to adjust itself to its new location, so to speak. So then the question is, no, not Ratzon, I'm talking about anything that I understand. So the question is, how come with Ratzon we find it doesn't take any time? Everything is in an instant, and any organ in the body, it's in an instant. If I want to move my leg, my hand, my eyes, my mouth, my nose, nowhere. If the Ratzon, it would be in a specific organ in the body, and now I'm sending it to another organ, it would have to take time for change. How come it never takes time for change? When the seichel has to be impacting a certain part of the body, it takes time because it's changing. It's changing from the brain, which is a perfect location for the intellect, and now it has to apply itself and invest itself and clothe itself into the hands or the feet or the mouth. But if it is the Ratzon, we don't find that it takes time to do anything. The second, the instant that I want to, my hand, I'm not even aware that I want to go so fast. So the answer is that the Ratzon has no specific location, it's everywhere. And therefore, in a second, that happens wherever it may be. So why does it say the heart? Or why do I feel my Ratzon is in my head? I feel in my head that I want this. So the answer is, it's really everywhere, but it registers in my head or in my heart. That's where I become aware of it. But the actual power of willpower is not located in a specific organ of the body. So that's why it's an example for saving Kalam. Yeah.
So when it comes to the head or the heart, you said that's what registers. So when it registers through the heart, I know that it like goes through a different way. Like you interpret it differently. So like why is that like why is the conduit like changing?
No, I'm saying it's not changing. That's the difference. Ratzon, there's no change involved. That's why it's instant.
So what's the difference from the something that registers from the heart and then the head?
That I don't know why the head or the heart, but both of them are only places where the Ratzon registers there. That's not the place where the Ratzon is sort of, that's the place where the Ratzon is located. That's not the original place of the Ratzon. Like intellect, the place of the intellect is in the brain. The place of the power of speech is in the mouth. the pace of the power of vision is in the eyes. And we can't say the same about Ratzon, that the place where it's situated is in the brain, because then it would have to take time to go from the brain to make the changes to apply itself to the hand and make different changes to apply itself to the feet and so on and so forth. And we don't find that it takes any time anywhere. And the answer is because Ratzon is transcends the differences and it's connected to all the organs in the body as one. And therefore, in an instant, that part of the body will respond to my Ratzon. But in the brain or in the heart, I can feel it. It registers there. That's all. But it's not situated there. So I'm saying cellular column is the same. It's in all the places in the world. It's in all the world equally. But through Scapius, his hapka becomes more revealed in this physical world.
So what about you, I'm thinking of this quote that you said in foreign language is not the only one that stands in the will. Like, I feel like there are, like sometimes.
No, and
like,
there are, of course, there could be other reasons why it's not happening, but in terms of the natural potential of a person, is if I want to do something, I can do it. I mean, if a person, let's say, is locked in jail, say, if you want to walk out, you can walk out. No, I can't, because there's something outside of me that's limiting me, that's locking me up. But if it's something within me, generally speaking, if there's a will, there's a way.
The liver is not connected. I think the liver has like a lot of passion or.
The liver does have an organ in the body. The liver is an organ, but I don't know if the liver is passion. The blood is there. Blood represents passion, but generally speaking, passion is still connected to the heart more than the liver.
Anger is what.
Generally speaking, in Kislev it explains that thought, speech, and action will be connected to the mind, the heart, and the liver, which means the liver is connected more to action, because that's the blood that flows to the organs that makes the people function. But the passion, the emotions are more in the heart, and the understanding originates in the head.
Something about a stronger willpower, it's from life, there was stronger willpower in life, like I try to put it in them stronger
If some people, their willpower is stronger,
than others.
could be, probably like everything else, yeah. Okay, I guess we'll stop here. We continue then.
Does it evolve the willpower? I guess it evolves also, right? Like with emotional health? Makes sense.
Will is different. Like, we don't find that you could, make us. I know it's a matter of developing a stronger willpower, or just training myself to want that the willpower should control everything else in my body and my soul.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.